So you've stepped into the corporate world, and wow, it has its own set of unwritten rules, doesn't it? And let's be real, some pretty difficult personalities. If you're new to the whole thing, it can feel like you're just completely lost. Today, we're going to dive into a field guide that's based on one person's actual hard-won experience. It's designed to help you decode some of the most challenging characters you'll ever meet on the job.
You can tell right away this is coming from a really personal place. This isn't just some dry theory. No, it's meant to be a helping hand for anyone who's ever felt completely adrift in a new job, just wishing they had someone to show them the ropes.
And that's the big question, isn't it? That's what we're tackling today. Think of this as your survival guide. We're going to identify these archetypes so you can spot them, figure out what makes them tick, and ultimately protect your career and, just as importantly, your sanity.
All right, first up, let's talk about the deceivers. These are the folks who, well, they're not what they seem. And honestly, they can be the trickiest ones to spot when you're first starting out because they have absolutely mastered the art of illusion.
Oh man, you have definitely met this person. They seem so eager to help, right? But then you walk away from the conversation even more confused than you were before. Their goal isn't to see you succeed, it's to keep you needing them so they stay in control. Here's a little pro tip. Ask them to email you the specific info you need. That creates a paper trail, and you'll see pretty quickly if they're actually willing to help or not.
I mean, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that feeling. Just picture it. Someone is standing right there with the exact tool you need, a golden shovel, but instead of offering it, they just watch you struggle. It's such a powerful image of what they're really about. Control, not helping out.
Okay, so this is not your average office gossip. No, this is way more calculated. The backstabber is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. They build this illusion of trust, of a safe space, all while they're just collecting ammo to use against you down the road. And they have a very specific reason for doing it. You know how to spot them? They often share some small, seemingly vulnerable secret of their own just to get you to open up. It's a total trap.
And the author's advice here, it is incredibly direct. And you really need to remember it. The more someone at work insists you're in a safe space, the more your guard should go up. Real trust is something that's shown over time, not just declared in a sentence. Keeping those professional boundaries strong is your absolute best defense.
Okay, let's shift gears to our next group, the watchers and takers. Now, these folks might not be as obviously sneaky as the deceivers, but they have this way of just draining you, your time, your knowledge, your energy, without ever giving anything back.
Now, this is a really important distinction to make. Being a quiet observer can actually be a super smart survival tactic, just being aware of what's going on around you to protect yourself. But the manipulative watcher? That's a whole different story. They're not watching to learn. They're watching to find weak spots they can use against you. They're basically gathering intel for a future attack.
Ah, the taker, a classic energy vampire. They are so good at flattering you, making you feel like they're go-to expert. But the second you need a hand with something, poof, they're gone. It's a complete one-way street. A good way to handle this? Try saying something like, hey, I can help for about 10 minutes, but then I'm on a serious deadline. It sets a clear boundary and lets them know your time isn't an infinite resource. And that right there, that's the key to how they think. In their mind, once you've helped them, the deal is done. They either feel like they're entitled to your help, or it just never even occurs to them that being part of a team means you help each other out. It's like they missed the memo on teamwork.
All right, our last category, and honestly, these are the most dangerous ones, the saboteurs. These aren't just passive takers or quiet deceivers. No, these are people who go out of their way to create chaos, undermine their colleagues, and just make the whole place toxic, all for their own benefit.
This type of person is frankly predatory. They're masters of timing. They don't just notice when you're vulnerable, they wait for it. The moment you're super stressed out or facing an impossible deadline, that's when they swoop in, using your emotional state to their advantage. So what's the defense? If someone offers you a lifeline when you're at your absolute lowest, just pause. Tell them you need a minute to think about it. Never, ever make a big decision when you're under that kind of pressure.
And that's the trap, you see. They show up in your moment of crisis, looking like a hero who's there to save the day. But this quote is such a sharp reminder. Their help always comes with strings attached. And those strings are designed to benefit them, not you.
So, you might be wondering, why do these people act this way? Well, that brings us to the projector.
And the thing is, their toxic behavior, it's not actually about you at all. It's a reflection of their own stuff, their own past hurts and insecurities that they just can't stop projecting onto everyone else.
Now look, this doesn't give them a pass, not at all, but this quote kind of helps you see where it's all coming from. They can't stand seeing other people succeed or get praised because it just reminds them of what they feel they never got. So, in their twisted way, they think they're just making things fair.
Okay, so we've identified all these challenging personalities. What do you do about it? Let's get to the most important part of all of this, the actual practical advice for not just surviving this stuff, but actually thriving in spite of it.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one idea. Awareness is your armor. Understanding these personalities isn't about getting paranoid. It's about being prepared. Because the moment you can put a name to the game someone is playing, you take away a huge chunk of their power.
So here's this really brilliant 3-step plan for building up your defenses. First, save your money. Having financial freedom means you have the power to walk away from a toxic job. Second, build a life outside of work. Get a real hobby, meet people who have nothing to do with your job. That way your support system isn't tied to your employer. And third, know your rights as an employee. Seriously, knowledge is power.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that key metaphor. The ultimate advice is to become that self-protective observer. Be the owl. You see everything, you understand what's going on, but you move quietly and strategically. You don't telegraph your moves, you just make them.
So, there you have it. You've got the field guide. You know who the opponents can be. Now the only real question left is, what kind of player are you going to be? Because the office is a complex game, for sure, but with this guide, you're a lot more prepared to make your next move.